Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 240. Let's see who shows up. Okay, Quinn Yasuo Gangplank. I'm tempted to try the Gangplank again. That previous trial, that number 239, did not go as well as I would have hoped. I don't know. I'm still kind of I don't know. I'm not salty about it. Nothing nothing went bad in that sense. It's just it felt like we were much stronger than the results suggested. And that's okay. That'll happen sometimes. But I don't feel the need to draft Gangplank 2 times in a row. So it's come down with either this Quinn or this Yasuo. I'll take the Yasuo. I'm not like really excited about it, but we haven't drafted him in quite a while. I know we've touched on Quinn and Scouts here fairly recently. It might have been actually a Misfortune deck that we picked Scouts into, but I know it's been quite a while since we've drafted Yasuo. But hopefully he will pan out okay here. So the idea with this is Yasuo pool pairs up with Leona out of Targon. Kind of the idea with this one is, Yasuo levels up by getting these stuns or the recalls, and then your Leona can be used to kind of generate a stun every turn of the game, and so they're supposed to kind of work synergistically together. My problem with this is I don't really like it when we're trying to synergize champions together. We only get a maximum of 4 champions in expeditions, and so we tend to draft 3 of one champion and 1 of the other, and I just don't really like diving in with like 2 and 2 splits and just hoping for the best as far as drawing a particular champion goes. But nonetheless, we'll take this Yasuo. Let's take a moment and pull it up on the site. We'll talk about it just a little bit more. If you're not familiar with the site, it's ftpbus.com. It's where I keep my collection of all things Expedition. I should have a new set review coming out here soon. I think it's like February the 3rd when the Aphelios Champion Pack comes out, or whatever is supposed to be seeing with that. And so that's just a couple weeks away, and so we'll have some new champions coming up here soon. But nonetheless, we're over here in the Expedition Helper section. We're just going to click the little drop down, scroll to Yasuo, find Solar Winds, and this is what we're working with here. And so, yeah, in general, like, I'm not a huge fan of these Yasuo build-arounds. I've been preaching it since Foundations, and nothing has really changed as to where it feels like he's just like one stun card away from being a real champion and being really good. And so we'll try it again if things pan out this way. If we do want to build around Yasuo, we'll see. If you want to go that route, you almost have to be paired up with Noxus because you're looking to find your stun spiders mainly, but then also things like decisive maneuvers and intimidating roar. Intimidating roar just the quickest and easiest way to actually get your Yasuo to flip, and then the other ones are just being good targeted stuns. And so, if we are actually physically building around Yasuo, in my opinion, the most important card to be picking up is Concussive Palm. Just gives us a unit that can stun something. We can stun in the middle of combat, and then also level up our Yasuo. I'm not as huge of a fan as trying to go the recall route, but you can get 2 ticks on your Yasuo with something like Homecoming. You can typically get kind of an incidental tick via a recall, but recalls don't kill your opponent's unit unless it's coming out of Homecoming or Will of Ionia, both of which are very expensive. And so we're typically looking to hit our opponent's units with stuns. The most important stun being Concussive Palm, the second most important stun being Stun Spider if we end up in Noxus, and then we do want to pick up a couple copies of Yone, just another great way to kind of take over the board with the late game and get things rolling with Yasuo. But that is the ideal behind the build-around version. Ideally, I don't want to do that, and at least with Yasuo, he does kind of have a good backdoor strategy in the Elusives. He doesn't have access to Green Glade Duo, which is the best one, but he has all of the other good ones between Young Witch, Conspirator, and Blade Scout. And so, he can also be particularly good if he's paired up with another Ionia champion that could just let us dive fully into going elusives. Because a 4 attack quick attack for 4 mana is not a bad deal, right? He can typically like get an attack in. Our opponent has to just ignore it or throw something in front of it. He can go and block a 3/3 and then get another good attack in. Like that's enough value for a 4-drop. There's not a whole lot of 4-drops in the game. There's definitely not a whole lot of 4-drops in Ionia outside of like the collective support units. But I do kind of like this aggro Yasuo version more than the full build around. It just feels like he's like one card short. We need, we can't be playing Steel Tempests and we can't be playing Guiles. Those cards are just too bad, and so he needs just like one more good card, and I think he'll be a real champion. I'll be a real champion one day. That's Yasuo, but nonetheless, let's see what comes out here. Okay, so an interesting little set. We do have access to the Grand Plaza down here, which can be moderately okay with these kind of aggressive strategies we're putting together here. I mean, starting with like Feyblade Twirler having quick attack, Yasuo having quick attack, very good when paired up with the Challenger. Also tend to have a very low curve with this. The big thing I really strive for, though, with the Grand Plaza is I want to have some kind of spell that generates a unit so that we can take advantage of it on the third turn. And so out of Demacia, we're looking for things like Succession or the thing that makes Valors, or have this paired up with Piltover and have their various things like the guy that makes the 2/1/1s for 2 mana, or have it paired up with Bilgewater for things like Double Trouble. I think that the biggest value you can get out of the Grand Plaza is to just not play anything the first 2 turns, drop this on 3, and then drop a Challenger and start clearing out your opponent's board. But this is a possibility. I'm not really excited about it. The problem's down here. There are no stuns or recalls in either Shadow Isles or Demacia, so these two champions are never going to synergize together. We're either just going to have to go full Yasuo without the ability to pair it with Noxus, which sounds horrible, right? Because we're starting with 3 factions already. We have Ionia with our picks, the Shadow Isles, and the Demacia, so we're never getting Noxus, probably never going after the full stuns. And then kind of the other way, if we're really looking to build towards the Grand Plaza, we don't have access to the spells that generate units. I mean, you can count Concussive Palm, but that's a little bit expensive. You can't pull off the Palm until turn 4. So I don't think these are ideal. I guess we can just go over here and take the Leona. She does pair up with Yasuo again in the Solar Winds pool, not particularly Radiant Dawn. And so there are at least some combos between these two pools. And I guess to a degree, I don't know if it lives in here, but there's also... had sneeze. There's also the new card out of the Zoe cards, the Sneaky Trouble Bubbles that can do stuns or deal damage to stunned units, and so you might be able to pull a bit of extra value out of Targon. I think this is the one that we're really looking to take here. So let's take a moment and pull these up real quick. So we're looking at Leona. I want to pull up Solar Winds first. This is the one that we're not as likely to see, but this is the one that does pair up with our Yasuo, right? Yasuo and Solar Winds, Leona Solar Winds. And so, yeah, I mean, like the big thing that, the ideally you're supposed to do here, you could see that, Yasuo levels up with stuns, Leona makes stuns with her Daybreaks. The problem, as mentioned, I don't really like, separating our champions. I really want to stack 3 copies of one champion. But, we do have some useful cards here. We have Sneaky Zeebles that can just kind of do the AoE stuns. Paddle Star is the big half, or no, this is the cheap half of the Trouble Bubble, but it can deal damage to a stunned unit. These cards are kind of okay, kind of fine, but that's the extent of the stuns here. But if you caught our previous Leona trial, you can also just dive right in on the Daybreak theme with the Solaris. They all live here as well, and so we can see how this plays out. Let me switch over to the actual Radiant Dawn pool real quick, because this is the one that we're technically drafting from, and this has more of the Invoke theme. Like the Solar Winds is more geared towards being paired with Yasuo. This one is geared towards being a Targon Allegiance deck. And so we actually just drafted this a couple trials ago. We had Leona paired up with Aurelion Soul, just completely crushed it. But the big thing to call out here, it does have the one stun in the Sneaky Zeebles, does not have access to the Sneaky Trouble Bubble, and then otherwise, in general, the cards are pretty similar between the two. We're going to see all the Daybreaks. You got the cheap ones in the Solari Soldier and the Shield Bearer, the mid-game ones in the Priestess and the Sunforger, and then the later game ones in both Ravoon and Eclipse Dragon. I'm pretty sure all of this lives in the Solar Winds copy as well. These should be extremely similar. You got the 2 cheap ones, the 3-drop, the 4-drop lives here, and Ravoon. There's no Eclipse Dragon in this pool, which is fine. But I think this could reasonably pan out okay. I do kind of like the idea of Steaky Zeebles also being able to get a bunch of ticks up on our Yasuo, and then, if things don't look to be going the route of Yasuo, I'm completely fine with just building around Leona. She's an extremely powerful champion. Oh, so we can take the path of the Solar Winds and see how this plays out. So, interesting little set here. No idea why Giddy Sparkleologist lives in this pool. Like, it has nothing to do with any of the themes. And we just have a really tough time actually beholding Celestials. But it lives here. The Solari Soldier's a fantastic early game play. The ones I'm kind of interested in are the 2 Elusives between the Green Glade duo Usari. But we're going to have a lot of trouble actually getting into Elusives. I guess, at least part of the beauty of getting into Elusives is Sneaky Zeebles also have it. And so we could look at it that direction. The big thing with the kind of Elusive style deck is the Solar Winds Yasuo has Young Witch in it, which is just one of my all-around favorite aggro units. So I think I'm okay with taking these. It doesn't really push us down a particular direction. It does take us farther away from Leona and more towards Yasuo. But the Sparkleologist is going to be pretty dead in our trial here. And then I'm not really looking to pick up a bunch of 4-drops here. We're definitely going to have 4 4-drops regardless of which way we take it, either Leona or Yasuo. And we'll kind of like... I'm trying to think of the word, like unintentionally, I guess we could say. Like, we'll eventually unintentionally pick up a Solari Sunforger. It'll be paired with like a Solari Soldier or a Zenith Blade or something, and we'll want to take it. We don't need to go out of our way to find these kind of units. But I think we'll be okay with the duo and the Usari. See if we can at least push ourselves a little more towards the aggressive side of things. Which, if you're being aggressive, apart from having elusives, things like Solari Soldier are very good aggressive units, and so we can also take things that way. So here we got a recall unit with the Will of Ionia, which is completely fine. I don't want anything to do with Bilgewater, and then White Flame Protector is kind of awkward here. If we didn't want it in the previous pack, we definitely don't want it in this one, since we don't seem like we're going to be building towards Daybreaks. So let's take the elusive. Okay. Interesting little set. It's like I'm really interested in Zenith Blades. I really love Zenith Blade. This is one of the best cards out of Targon, in my opinion. And then there's kind of 2 things with it. We are sort of building towards elusives where it doesn't really do anything, right? There's not very many elusives running around in Expedition right now, so it's kind of bad in that sense. But slapping a Zenith Blade on Leona or Yasuo or Fey Blade Twirler, we do have a lot of units that can really benefit from these, and so I think it will be okay. I would like to have the Blade Scout, but the Elder's pretty mediocre. And then cards like Steel Tempest just aren't playable. We'd love to have Rushes. Rush is a fantastic combat trick, but Steel Tempest is garbage. It's just one of the worst ones. So I think we're fine to pick up the Zenith Blade. Hopefully we can pick up a second one. Okay, and then here, again, I'm going to keep sticking away from the White Flame Protectors. Just don't really want those, and I think the Jeweled Protectors will play better towards this kind of elusive theme that it looks like we're putting together. So we're going to have a Conspirator Jeweled Protector, which is fine. Don't really want to be picking up any more 5-drops. I'd say we're going to get stuck picking up 1 or 2 more, but I really want to focus on the 1, 2, and the 3-drop portions of our curve. We really need cheap units, and we need interactive combat tricks at this stage of the trial, or this stage of the draft. Okay. See, there was the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, which I'm kind of interested in taking. It is awkward in that it's slow. We're never particularly excited about having these slow stuns because you can't play them in combat, but it does kind of count as a removal spell. And so I would like to try out the Trouble Bubble in one of these Yasuo decks. I just don't think the Sunforger pack is quite good enough. And so I'm going to take the Conspirator with the Will of Ionia. We have way too many Will of Ionias. I really like to max out at 2, but this is what looks to be, at least building towards a bit of the core of our deck. Okay, Dawn and Dusk should be fantastic here. Silent Satyrseer, okay. These are a little expensive for my liking, but you know, it's a pretty reasonable card if you look at it to be like say like a 5-drop or a 6-drop. You know, gives us a little bit of bonus value out of something like a Green Glade Duo. And then I really love Dawn and Dusk. Whether or not we're, you know, copying even just sneaky Zeebles, it's pretty easy to just get a huge late game hit in that your opponent can't do anything about. But cool. Okay, alrighty, interesting set. I think we're going to have to take the Concussive Palm with the Whimsy. We just don't have any interactive cards up to this point. Like, we don't even have combat tricks. I don't remember what our spells are, but it's like Dawn and Dusk and Zenith Blade are 2 of them. Oh, and 3 Will of Ionias. Yeah, so, I mean, we could technically interact with our opponent's units. Man, I forgot that we had 3 Will of Ionias. But, like, where do we stand as far as, like, stuns go? We have 3 recalls with the Conspirator, which is what really makes me want to take the Blade Scout. But then, you know, we aren't really stacked up on doing a lot of stunning. I think we just have to take the Blade Scout. If we're doing this like aggressive Elusives kind of thing with 3 Conspirators, we really need these 1-drops to fill in our curve. Okay, and then to the same degree, I think I'd rather have Sparring Student than like the Sparring Student Solari Soldier are going to be kind of even, but I don't want these White Flame Protectors again, and we have a lot of recalls for Green Glade Elder. I think this will be okay. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Sparring Student in decks that don't have Zed, but I think this one will be fine. Oh, this is an absolutely brutal set. I would love to have all of these cards, but I'm not passing up on our second Zenith Blade. We really need to be picking these up. Having 1 is pretty feels bad. Having 2 feels super good. And then Eclipse Dragon, just the best top end in the game. We don't really need any top end here, but I won't be upset about picking him up. Okay. Alrighty, well here, it's our first chance at a removal spell and our first chance at a combat trick, and I think we're just going to have to pick these up. The Jeweled Protector Twin Disciplines was a reasonable choice, but I just don't think it's ultra necessary. Our top end is already looking fairly good. And here, since we are still playing to a degree, I think we're going to be building around Yasuo. I don't want to leave home without a Yone, and this also comes with a 1-drop in it, so another pretty good set. Okay. Interesting. These are not particularly good. We can't do the Allegiance thing, and we don't need Will of Ionias. That's an easy skip. This is some pretty good top end, but I just feel like we don't need it. But then if we come over here out of the way, we're not going to get a lot of value of. If we had a bunch of Young Witches, I would be more interested in this, but you know, it plays reasonably well with these Solaris, but I think that's really all we have going for these. Yeah, this looks pretty bad. So, kind of interested in more sneaky Zeebles. I just, this out of the way feels like it's going to be completely dead. That's close. Curve looks okay. I mean, Moondreamers we're not going to need. They're moderately interesting when we have 3 Navori Conspirators, but it's going to be pretty bad here. This one's tough. Find something to do with out of the way. It's like even our singular combat trick lasts forever. It's tough. I guess it does also play reasonably well with Sparring Student. Like these are, it plays well with all of our 1-drops. These aren't any like compelling reasons to play out of the way, but I think like I don't want these expensive cards. I really just want 1 Eclipse Dragon here because I think we're going to have trouble playing this anyways. And I think these Zeebles have some good potential here. So I'm going to take the out of the way. Hopefully we can just trade it away at some point. And then here, I'm happy to trade out Shadow Assassin for the Soldier. We do need more 1-drops. I would like to have like 6 or 7 at a minimum, just to pair up with these Conspirators. And so Sonic Wave is moderately interesting, but we don't have the Young Witches to make me really excited about having the Challengers. Oh. So pick up the Soldier. Okay. And then let's take a look here. We do have to go and make our premium for the trial, really make one of our units feel pretty good. And what are you? Are you a rare? No, let's go do the Zeebles. I think they're what's really tying the deck together, giving us the stuns for Yasuo and the Elusives for the rest of the deck. I'm on board. He's gonna be one of the guys that we really need to put in some work this trial, and he should really be able to feel better about himself to put that work in if he's prismatic. So all around pretty happy about this upgrade. It feels like a good choice. If you all disagree, then you don't know what you're doing. Easily the strongest play of the draft. Going and picking which card to make premium, the toughest choice of all. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with how this turned out. I would like to trade out a bit of these expensive cards, and I would like to add in some concussive palms. Just kind of like some numbers I would like to shift, but overall, I think it's in a pretty good place for a round 0. Okay, Garen, but no Shadow Isles, so hopefully you don't have to run into the Grand Plaza. And then pretty happy to just start with these 2s. Can't complain about starting with a Green Glade duo when we only have 1 copy. It seems different. What happened here? Something must have been an update to LOR Guardian. Oh, yeah, come on, bud. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then it does kind of suck to just lose the duo to the Fleet Feather Tracker, but you know, realistically, like whatever unit we play here, we're probably just going to lose to the Fleet Feather Tracker. But I think we're okay to just start with the Shield Bearer, and then maybe 2 turns from now we can add duo Shadow Seer, and you'll have already tried to use the tracker for something else. Oh man, and this was my big fear was that he was going to play something that we could just like Zenith Blade into. Bit unfortunate, but I think this is okay. We just have to eat all the damage from this Green Fang Warden, but otherwise I think this is fine. Whoa, single combats. Okay. We're just going to take 6. That kind of sucks. This guy's aggroing a lot better than we are. But, I mean, I guess we'll have to be fine with this. I'm not a huge fan of the Shadow Sea here, because I do want to do this this kind of combo of Jeweled Protectoring the Conspirator, then Conspiratoring back the Jeweled Protector. I think we'll have time to do it. We'll just have to see here. And if he passes back to us, this is ultimately pretty scary. If not, okay. Just trying to go wild on us. Okay. Welcome to try. He has a riposte, it sucks, but I think this is okay. Then we just have to get down a unit that can block some of the stuff. It sucks to lose a Green Glade duo, but not quite willing to just add Jeweled Protector to this board.
Everything's better with company.
I feel like just given enough time, we'll be okay here. Ooh, Garen. He's adding Garen, then we don't have to Sunblessed Vigor, so let's just go ahead and level up our Yasuo. Guess not level up. Hit him with the Zenith Blade, so we can accept a combat from these Silver Wing Vanguards. Also, I was going to say, if he doesn't hook Yasuo, I'm also pretty tempted to just take his Garen down. Okay. This also kind of sucks. I don't think we're ever going to get these elusives down. I think kind of the idea here is we're just going to Sparring Student and Jeweled Protector. So let's make this attack. Could be particularly brutal if he has a combat trick, but it doesn't seem like he's really playing towards ever having combat tricks here. He's just been tapping out and open attack, like tapping out and attacking. He hasn't really shown us something that makes us believe he's going to have combat tricks. Alright, so there's nothing we can do about this Garen flipping, but we can at least block it and not have our unit die if we're wanting to throw Sunblessed Vigor on it. And then, I mean, realistically, the thing we're going to be doing is trying to get a kill with our Elusives, which, I mean, he's played 2 single combats. He can have some amount of... he can have some amount of, like, you know, frostbites or something to try to take us down, but really feels like this guy's just going to be playing units for days. So ideally what we'll be able to do here is play Usari. The next turn, you're going to have to block Garen with this. Hopefully I haven't messed this up too hard as far as getting these conspirators going, but I think we're okay here.
Night falls, shadows gather.
Laurence abonde with plating. Time for a leap of faith.
+4, so we're at 9. All right,
I have unfinished business.
let's see if he messes this up. 8. Well, this is 12 right here, right? 5, 8, 12.
Against the Laurent?
I guess if he has the +3 attack, we don't just like lose. Oh, he only has 1 mana. Okay, we're fine. I had this big worry that he was just gonna keep playing cards, but good deal. Okay. Let's see how good this Yasuo pack is. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. This is actually a pretty tempting karma with the Concussive Palm and the Greenglade duo. I can live without the Leona. The Zenith Blade is kind of whatever here. But I don't really want Singular Will. This hasn't just really panned out how I really want it to in Expedition. If you're familiar with Magic, or I guess if you're familiar with Magic and an ancient fellow like myself, or at least played some of the cubes that appear on Magic Online. If you're familiar with Upheaval, is where this is getting at. You can make all these plays with Upheaval. If you're not familiar with 6 mana sorcery, returns all permanents to the board or to players' hands. And so what you could typically do was, say you have access to 10 mana. Then you just tap all your mana, you return all the permanents, then you have 4 mana. You can play another land to get up to 5, and then basically have 5 mana worth of cards to put on the board to your opponent's just 0. And that's really comparable to Singular Will. This doesn't return everything, and it's hard to have more than 3 mana, but you get to keep a guy on the board. But it's just never really played out how I wanted it to. So here, this is close. Like as far as like how champion centric we are for Yasuo, like we have the Yone, we have 3 Will of Ionias, 2 Sneaky Zeebles, and then that's kind of it outside of the Navori Conspirator recalls. We're pretty close to just being able to trade into these being very good. So I think we have to take the Yasuo. That's kind of unfortunate, but it just doesn't. It feels like we're really close. Like I don't think we're gonna ever have these big boards to where we just like AoE our opponent's board with Yasuos. Like we don't have the intimidating roars to be pulling that kind of thing off. But I think we can threaten a lot with him. Like these decks to where we have a Fiora as our support champion, and we don't really plan on winning the games with Fioras, but our opponents have to give respect to it. I think we might be able to pull that off with this Yasuo here. Alright, this is a fairly awkward start. This is pretty much why I don't like these Greenglade Elders. It's going to be boosting a total of 2 units here. Like my big problem with cards like Greenglade Elder are you're in a spot to where you've either drawn spells, which is kind of unfortunate, you're not getting full value out of it, or you play a 1-drop and a 2-drop, and then you're just missing 2 cards of value on his bonus. All situations which kind of suck. But let's see how this goes. He didn't hit his Behold on this thing, which good. I really don't like that these high rolly cards exist, but kind of is what it is.
How'd you do that?
Then this is just this is so unfortunate with our hand. Um, I think we have to keep going this way. Although I would really prefer to just be boosting things with this Jeweled Protector, but just not how this is played out. Ever want to play out of the way? What does this even do? Like, our sparring student keeps his stats? This is exactly why I didn't want this. It's just not going to do anything here. But I think we're pretty okay to add Jeweled Protectors. Let's just boost up our smaller unit so it can actually do something relevant. And then it's still kind of tough for him to play a unit that matters here. We can Sunblessed Vigor through Trundles. Alright, so he is going to hit the ramp next turn, which kind of sucks. He put the Ice Pillar in his hand, but I think we're going to be okay. He's going to, try to get some Trundle attack in, and we can Will of Ionia him back. We can pop him with Leona, all of which are reasonable. So hopefully we can just tempo him out from this point forward. Like, he can add a big unit here, which is whatever, but then on our following turns, hopefully he'll just have like one big boy and we can send it back to his hand.
Calm mind and open heart greet the night.
Okay. These are not ideal targets for a for a Will of Ionia.
The vault of
Do not want to be returning these. Okay.
Something approaches. Written in the stars.
Sure. Nothing we can do about that. So, I mean, his high-powered turn did not seem to be that high-powered. Let's do this. Let's get our Greenglade Elder going. With this stage, if he wants to add something to the board, he's going to have to kill off one of his cards, which is pretty good for us. I think this will be a place where we get into combat and then just send his Trundle back. Reliant Soul's kind of a problem. So we can send Trundle back for free now. How do these attacks? These attacks don't look particularly good. That's what happens when they add Aurelion Soul. Your attacks no longer look good. I think we're just gonna have to hit with Elusives.
I recall my training.
We're willing to do this. Like, I mean, this is our other choice. We could trade this for his Moondreamer, and then this gets eaten by Aurelion Soul. I just do not like that.
Bony hands strike hard.
Oh shit! Oh god damn it! We didn't hook his Ice Pillar. Ugh. That's not good. Now his Ice Pillar is going to hit our Leona as well. This is not good. That's not good at all. Here's our way to win the game, though. We can, if we can survive a couple more turns and then get a bunch of. No. No. It has it all. Okay. All right. We're not able to aggro there well enough. Our, if your opponent's opening with two of the 2-mana ramp cards and you still can't deal damage to him, then you're in a pretty bad spot. That's just an extremely good place for a deck like this to be opening into, and then this did not pan out. So nonetheless, let's get rid of the Sunblessed Vigor. That's not a particularly good combat trick. We don't need any of these bounce spells. We already have 3 of them. And the Shield Bear is pretty reasonable 2-drop. Alright. Aurelion Soul Part 2. It's really strange seeing these people play multiple copies of Aurelion Soul. He's just such a bad card to draw multiple copies of. But nonetheless, let's get rid of this dead out of the way. And then our hand looks pretty decent otherwise. This will get the most damage in. Ideally, with a hand like this, we'll play the Blade Twirler on 2, and then Conspirator and replay the Soldier on 3. So we've got the biggest of boys out here.
Don't let the fluffy tails fool you.
No attack? Sweet.
Time for a leap of faith.
Zenith Blade. Got it. That is one big elephant.
Quietly. Walk softly.
But, I mean, this style of hand also plays out reasonably well, right? If we add Yasuo on his turn, and then just spend the full 5 mana on Will of Ionia on our turn, if he wants to, you know, put his Startled Stomper in front of Fate Blade Twirler or something, then have a very good Will of Ionia. That's not ideal.
Celestial power.
Well, I think it quite matters.
Dying's easy.
Okay, so I'm not like real enthused about just going for this Will of Ionia plan here. I think I want to add the Shadow Seer. Just bank up the spell mana. We can Will of Ionia the Stomper on his turn. Like, things were a lot different when we were going to be attacking with an actual Yasuo. Now that we aren't attacking with Yasuo, it's just not as exciting.
See you soon.
Hell yeah, out of the way. I mean, it's not horrible here, right? We can still, you know, level up these Solaris if we want. Don't really want, but it's an option that we have. So what are we going to do here? I think what we're planning on doing is we're going to Sunburst Alpha Wildclaw. We're going to play both of our Solaris and then open. I think this is it. I guess our other choice is if we want to go the other way about it, we can play a Shield Bearer, which can block both of these units, and then Will of Ionia this thing in mid-combat, which I do kind of like, because then it makes our open with the Blade Twirler better. I think I like this.
You cannot sway me.
Right, so this is going to make this a 5 healther,
Underestimate me. I dare you.
or 5 attack, I should say. Can add Soldier.
We will not suffer unbelievers.
They will not escape punishment.
And he's going to lose this thing. Okay.
Punish transgressions.
Devotion through battle.
Unfortunately, don't have the recall for the punish here, but getting really close to just being lethal.
Zigged. Should have sagged.
Some kind of Nightfall play? Why would you just be healing this?
The trap is
Trapper,
set.
okay. We just want to go ahead and pop this thing? Probably. think we should be okay. We're able to add Eclipse Dragon. It's kind of scary with him being able to, answer some of our elusives, but he should have to answer 2 of them. The open attack isn't super important on his turn, or on our next turn.
Can't be.
Sure. Alright, so like a harsh winds would suck, but beyond that, I think we're okay.
Shadows take form.
If he tries to make like a single combat, oh, he's not playing. I'll see the dragons and just assume they're going to have all the single combats.
I have unfinished business.
Alright, let's see how many cards you got. Nice. Okay. This is an awkward one. I think we have to get rid of the out of the way. I would love to get rid of the singular will as well, but as you can see in these games, there's just not enough value generated out of our cards for this to be any good. This really needs to be in like a Taric deck to where, it's usually just kind of like a win more situation when you're pale cascading a Taric, but that's this kind of spots where you're wanting to be keeping the buffs, or you're attacking with a young witch, giving a unit quick attack and +1 attack. Those are the kind of things you want to be doing with out of the way, not so much Solaris and sparring students. So I think this is a pretty reasonable trade. We might actually be able to do something with singular will at some point. At least, just level up that Yasuo, or maybe kill your opponent's whole team or something. I don't know. We'll figure out a play make with it. But. This was gonna be it. Oh no! I can't imagine why anyone ever wants to play Thresh, and so I just go and look for that Demacia pairing, and it's not there. Strange. These are the hands to why I don't like Greenglade Elder. But I think we can keep up our aggression here.
Raise your weapon sunward.
We're only just gonna be like -1 unit as far as he's concerned.
Reality is just your mind crumbling under what it doesn't understand, silly!
Oh, I thought he whiffed. I saw those cards go back, and I thought he was done. But.
I know a way.
Okay, let's open. I'm intending on just sending the turn back.
A little luck.
It kind of depends on if he plays anything that's particularly scary as far as an open attack is concerned. But I just want to be a little bit greedier as far as with this Greenglade Elder.
These jewels are more than mere trinkets.
No greater gift than knowledge.
Should have a reasonably big turn next turn. Like we're gonna add Sparring Student here. The next turn we can Solari Soldier plus Yasuo. Maybe we shouldn't play the Soldier so we have Whimsy mana, but as far as this current board stands, I don't particularly care about keeping Whimsy mana up.
Check out these moves.
Sapphire,
Zoe already seen a
gem
gem?
of our
Nope.
divine patron.
Bless the faithful and sear the heretics.
Okay, we can at least combat favorably with this thing.
My favorite too.
I go where the road takes me. Are you the one with wind
Can't actually kill any of our attackers with this. Can't now, but couldn't previously.
Walk softly, strike quickly.
As foretold.
Uh-oh. Oh no, he's gonna smash our Yasuo? The hush? Okay.
This is not the way. Be brave.
Big old chunk of damage though. If we can kill off some of our units, we have a lethal with Dawn and Dust Shadow Seer next turn. Power, right? But unfortunately, I'm sure he's just never attacking with Moondreamer. Maybe we should have attacked with the Elder. Okay.
The shadows take
It's not as
form.
exciting this way, but the Shadow Seer, Conspirator, Zeebles are also lethal this turn. The Ruination? Oh, dude. Ugh. Alright, so it'll take us a turn. Fine. And then potentially of importance, oh, this is a playability. I thought this doesn't. I thought that when we made copies of this, we might be getting a fresh version. Just immediately draw the next one. Nice. The removal. Don't approve, but you're gonna have a pretty fantastic Eclipse Dragon here. Boom. Oh, he's such bonkers top end. Oh, man.
You won't be silent.
Okay. Seems like you gotta give up on Zoe at some point. She's never flipping. Yeah, we probably have to hit the big one just in case he has another Grasp of the Undying. But I'm just see if he adds anything. If he adds like any unit, then I'll go ahead and Mind Splitter. But he just wants to keep playing the passing game. I'm fine to keep passing.
The destiny brings me home.
Well, Rummel has Spell Shield, which is annoying, but at least Zoe's not going to be able to block here. Oh, this ability still goes on. I forgot. It doesn't put the little circly thing on the middle of the board. Fine. You are a lame-o. Okay. Still just lethal, right? This one has Overwhelm.
Zoe, what's your name?
Get the heal? Sure. Alrighty. We're getting there. We're getting close. Just so much raw card advantage out of these Eclipse Dragons. I mean,
The journey is difficult. Please will protect you.
okay. Like, how cute do we need to be? Because we do have the Conspirator onto Eclipse Dragon, then we can replay Eclipse Dragon. Or we can just, play Zenith Blades. I think we just want to play, I'm just going to play Zenith Blade. See if he adds another unit, and then just try to Will of Ionia. And then we'll have Whimsy for the next turn. Okay.
Calm mind and open heart greet the night.
Snap that one off. Okay. Alright, where's our Yasuo? Okay, this is at least a better one. I hate passing on all these Green Glade duos that would have came from our champion picks, but Blade Twirler's a good 2. Yone is, we have a lot of top end now, but, if we're going to kind of keep this stun thing going, then we have to have the Yones. This would be a pretty fine set. Oh man. Get my yawns, my stretches. We're ready for battle now. Shit's about to get real. Maybe. There we go. Right. A little Timo and a little Zed. Okay. So, wish we had ways to answer Timo. We don't in this deck. Other than just playing like some of these elusives, and so I think that's probably what we need to just mulligan for. None of this hand is particularly exciting anyways, but oh shit. Oh man. Well, I guess we'll have enough top end for this game. Oh man, I can't imagine this goes well for us. It just did like the lightning bolt to face on 3. Oh man. Okay, well, you're a unit.
Oh, if mushrooms could talk.
I'll have what he's having.
Okay.
They grow up so fast.
I think this is fine.
Swiftly. Adventure starts with mushrooms.
Might be able to stop that Timo from flipping next turn. Not real confident in that without just playing an elusive next turn, but this is at least not the scary one. He's probably going to be able to hit us with the the flipped one next turn, but yeah, and then I guess also at worst we can just Will of Ionia this Timo. So, all right, well, let's at least attack with our units that are good at attacking. This will only stun Timo, but you should have some trouble dealing with Sneaky Zeebles Yasuo. For the most part, like, why? Just anywho, for the most part, I was gonna say that their combat tricks are typically just things like Suit Up is the big one that you have to worry about, but he's gone and spent all his mana and everything. And we actually have a good attack with our Shield Bearer here as well. And so I think this is good. Like, I don't know why he's so invested in this Timo. He's pretty much shut down by the Zeebles. Okay. Alright, so maybe we can make some kind of play where we're gonna get like a good Yone to shut down 2 of his blockers. Yeah.
The power of the immortal sun.
So this doesn't really do anything. It shuts off his Puffcat Peddler, but the big thing we're trying to pull off here is just sending his Timo back to his hand in the middle of combat. I guess this actually just kills Teemo. I forgot that we had this Yasuo on board.
Swiftly.
I just like I'm so not used to Yasuo ever doing anything, and so I completely didn't expect him to be like on this board and killing anything. This is fine. You can kill a Puffcat Peddler here. Don't mind if we do. Any of these other plays look better. Like if we want to, I don't think we want to do any of this. Let's just kill this unit.
Brother, what have you become? If I told you, would you listen?
I'd listen, Yasuo. If you told me, I'd definitely listen. So, I mean, he's got like the 2/4/4s in his hand, but neither of these are, he's like in must block mode now. And what we're at least going to see from this standpoint is if he wants to block our Leona, then he's going to be facing lethal. So, ideally, he has to take this Puffcat Peddler and then just like put it in front of Yone or put it in front of Yasuo. And if he has a trick or something, that's fine. Like he can stun one of these. We're not like super worried about closing the game here.
He's been a fun guy.
Sure. Could do the singular will with Yasuo. I don't think that's like really worth pursuing. But I mean, I'm not like sure how the timing on this works. Is one of the problems with it. We can easily get into our next turn with 3 spell mana banked up and then follow up with another card. I don't like this. Let's just get our dragons down.
Silent as death.
Okay. Oh, big boy. That's kind of scary.
Falls.
I mean, do we ever need to play to Whimsy here? I don't think so. I think we just want to get a full board. It should be tough for him to fill out. Let's see. Let's start with Shadow Seer and then see what we actually Nightfall off this Eclipse Dragon. We might hit something good like a Crescent Strike. Okay.
See you soon.
Did not.
Do not fear the shrouded path.
I walk your path.
Okay, that's. I mean, we can attack. I think we fell a little bit short here. Maybe we should have played to the singular will, but it doesn't. It doesn't seem like it was going to do anything here. So I don't see a reason to add Blade Twirler.
Life and death on
At least if we're keeping this 3 mana up, he technically has to block all of our units.
You cannot
But
escape.
we're going to have a pretty tough time surviving all this Puffcap damage.
my pretty.
Okay, let's get a good emote here. Let's do the mathematics. Let's count them up. 1, 2, okay. That's fine. I mean, I'm happy that we were in that game when you mulligan into a Yasuo when 3/7 drops and you're in it right until the end. Then that's a beautiful thing. And so no salt about that one. I thought that one turned out pretty well for us. And then with these, we can't make any of these trades. I'm cool with getting rid of Silent Shadow Seers. It's pretty medium as far as a card goes, but we don't want 4 Will of Ionias. And then otherwise, I'm not trading out our 1s. We actually want to pick up some more 1-drops. And so I feel like this is a pretty easy skip. Is it 21-5? Here's to an opening hand where the The average cost is not over 4. Alright, we got a 1-drop. I'm on board with that. More along the lines of what we're looking for here. What's this? Trundle Shyvana?
Ready, willing, and learn.
Okay, and then this is kind of interesting. I think if we want to keep up our aggression, we just drop the Shield Bearer. I think that's what we want to do here. I feel like we're probably not going to get an attack in with Sparring Student, and we did not, but this is okay. And then this kind of leaves us in a spot to where, you know, in a lot of worlds, I just want to bank up the 3 spell mana here, and that's what we're going to be doing. But it's tough for us in the sense that...
Are you the one with wind technique?
Is that 3/3? Sure. See if he's got a riposte. But
Not prevail.
I had a thought there, and it slipped me, but I think this is okay. Sure.
An auspicious season.
Who do we boost with this blade? I guess we just have to boost the Blade Twirler. Maybe we'll have Ionia something next turn. We should have a pretty reasonable set of tempo plays going here. We have to... We can... If we still Tempest this, then we still have the 7 mana next turn to play Blade Twirler plus Will of Ionia. So I'm okay with this. Oh. This is going to end with 4 health, right? So it can't combat with any of our units? Sure.
Left foot, left foot. Quick footwork, fast strikes.
Don't let the fluffy tails fool you.
But now it's like we have a real decision if we actually want to add this Blade Scout, which I don't think we do, because I think what's going to happen here is like 100% of the time we're going to play Will of Ionia. And so this is just going to typically come down to, do we want this mana for the Steel Tempest next turn? And I think we do. So let's go ahead and bounce the Shyvana. He can still get something going on with like a Prismatic Barrier or something into the Screeching Dragon. And that, you know, whatever. If he kills Yasuo with the Screeching Dragon, I don't particularly care, because we're just gonna monster on his board here. That's unfortunate.
Dying's easy. Blessed by snow and stars.
But let's see if we can't keep our tempo up. Well, does that change anything? I think we probably should Blade Scout now, right? Because we can't Steel Tempest anymore.
Pick on some of your own speed.
My time has come.
Okay, now maybe we can get just get some good Yones going.
Dragon blood, Demacian heart.
I'll do what must be done.
Right, there's that.
Underestimate.
I
Dare
think
you.
Tall Tales, absolutely. So he's going to have a 5/5 next turn. We don't have the mana. What sucks here is we don't have the mana to do kind of like everything. Sunburst is an interesting pickup. I was trying to like craft this set of plays to where we like Conspirator Yone and go with that. So how does this go? We can open, which seems good. If he has a combat trick, I don't care. And then we can go ahead and say like Conspirator back Yone and play combat tricks and stuff. I think I like this. Let's get an open in.
Yeah.
Fly away while you can.
Again, if he has like a riposte, and I'm not like ultra upset about it. I just the 5/5 gives us kind of an awkward combat to have to run into.
Come face me.
Back to back would be abysmal, but oh, just murder that board. Nice, nice.
Back to our perch.
Now who's got the upper hand?
How scary is this? We could just block this next turn. I don't particularly care.
I go where the road takes me.
He has a confront. It's not the end of the world either.
This one's trouble. My pocket.
Be a little short of Yasuo kills on these things, but I think we need to just go ahead and Yone. We want the big damage on his scout. I think that sounds about right. Sure.
Here's our chance.
We feast tonight, Varg.
Do we just want to get wide? This open attack isn't lethal. Still doesn't have an answer for this monster. Just got to find that Zenith Blade. Okay, I think we can pass here. I might want to hang on to the Shield Bearer in case we want to daybreak our Eclipse Dragon. Don't think we do.
The power of the immortal sun.
See if we can't just get a kill here.
Glorious light rains down.
Underestimate me. I dare you.
It's that Zenith Blade. Still don't want to do this. Even if this fails, it's not the end of the world for us. So let's just go ahead and try this. If he has a combat trick, I don't care. You know, if he wants to play an Elixir of Iron or something, there's a good chance this makes him play a 4 Demacia. He doesn't. It's not a big deal. But I still like how this looks. Back to back. Okay.
Quietly now.
Meet them head on.
Okay. Seems reasonable to me. All the brood mothers.
My faith protects me.
Yep. We ever just throw the Blade Twirler in front of one of these? Ugh. Huh. Because all I really care that happens at the end of this combat is that we have our elusive. That seems a little greedy.
Do not interfere.
Blocks like this at least leave them with 3 health.
Strike while the planets
And then we
align.
can put Leona and this thing in front of him. I guess if we're going to do it like that, then we should just put our 3s in front of him. And that'll leave him with a 6 and a 7. So if things go more wrong here, then we can still try to take him down in the second combat. Can't actually block anything, right?
Humility before power.
It seems a little too dangerous to let these through. How does this look? Say, like, if we play both units next turn, we can hook one. This has to block here. Then it just depends. I don't think we ever win the game like that. I'm still not entirely convinced that we shouldn't have just blocked one of these big dudes with the Blade Twirler so that we could protect a different unit. Alright, let's see. Zenith Blade.
They'll never see me coming.
Am I flesh or shadow?
Cool. Alright. You see, we wanted so much more of you, Zenith Blade. No, with these I'm okay. I'm passing on everything. I'm not. I mean, the priestess is good, but I'd rather be trading out cards we don't want. These shield bearers are still firmly in the land of cards that we do want. These other ones are not. So let's skip over all these. Just want to get rid of some of, like, if we stop and take a look, I'd like to get rid of Greenglade Elder, probably Jeweled Protector, one Will of Ionia, and then like an Eclipse Dragon and Singular Will. Really just looking to get rid of expensive cards. It's kind of a theme, like to like 80% of our drafts, where we're very frequently looking to get rid of our expensive cards and fix our curve on the cheap side, as opposed to just not having enough top end. I think that might have been what happened to us in our previous trial with Gangplank, where we just didn't have enough top end. But I think finding that right balance is one of the things that'll really push you to having more success in expeditions. It doesn't even so much matter about like the quality of the cards, as long as you're just able to play cards at the right point of each game. So kind of like understanding what a particular champion wants their curve to look like, and then trying to make, even if you don't have the right cards in there, at least have the right curve. It's one of those things that you can kind of figure out if you're experienced in other card games but new to expeditions or new to Runeterra. You should at least be able to kind of gather. I don't know if card A is better than card B, but I'm able to at least piece together a cohesive mana curve. It's very much like I'm. Oh god, this is brutal. This is brutal. It's why I'm able to stay like platinum or diamond level competitive in teamfight tactics. Even though I don't really play a whole lot or try a whole lot, it's just able to, understand how the economy works and putting together a best board and such. Oh, this is brutal. I mean, I guess at least our opponent's doing the same thing, but this is very bad. I can't imagine that we do this better than a Luxheimer Dinger deck.
Sleep is for the guiltless.
We already drew our second Zenith Blade as well. This is just like as bad as things can be.
Brittle but wide.
But maybe we can just slam in enough damage here and have it not matter. Okay. Not like real sure what his angle is here, but I'm going to go ahead and Zenith Blade in case his angle is Mystic Shot, or if his angle is whatever like Victor Beam is called. There's Victor Beam. Okay. But works for me. We didn't have any Zenith Blades to pick up anyway, so not the end of the world. The thing that at least I have some hopes for in this game is these decks, they do have access to Detain, but beyond that, their removal spell tends to be all damage based, and so dealing with things like Yone and Eclipse Dragon tend to be fairly challenging for them to do. So let's try to add Shield Bearer Yasuo and just see if we can't get an open next turn. Oh, that's a lot of cards to be discarding. Just give yourself -3 card advantage. Accelerated Pursuit, just a bunch of random removals. Wow. That's certainly a strategy.
Death is like the wind, always by my side.
Okay, and then I don't think we're ever going to Yone here. I think I just want to lead out with the Zenith Blade. I want to play Greenglade Duo, and then just kind of give him an opportunity to add some units to the board. Should be able to get some good value between this Yone and the Zeebles.
Let the light guide you. The Yordle here's with me.
Company makes
Lux,
the journey go
Lux was a touch of a problem.
Let's move.
Let's see how this goes. If he's not able to actually take down the Green Glade duo, then these are extremely good at closing out games with Dawn and Dusk. We're a few turns away from being able to pull that off, but it's a pretty powerful thing to be doing. And then our question here is, would we rather just try to stun these 2 units next turn? Which we probably would. So I've been pretty on board with just getting these big Eclipse Dragons down and trying to handle it this way. Still bringing it. It's scary.
You have taken a dark path.
This isn't going to be lethal, but it does get us kind of set up to try to pull off a Green Glade duo play. Pretty scary to try to do Green Glade duo plays against a Piltover deck, because if they can just cancel it with a Mystic Shot. But
Seems to be the problem.
Scorching light.
Some things never die.
it's not a fun board for him to be interacting with.
Easy on the hands, they're new.
Okay, we just lethal. Did you not? I thought we had a -3 when this was in front of. Oh, okay, he's moving his timer down.
Atonement.
Unforeseen outcome.
Okay,
Stay resolute.
Moon Part 2. I think we need to throw this down. I have big worries about next turn with him having an open with this, or having a rally with this Garen. Our other choice is to just play Jeweled Protector Yasuo and then try to Yone next turn, because our board is too full to play a Dawn and Dusk, which I'm kind of okay with. We can do it this way. He has to have another like big combat trick for this to be good. Thermogenic Beam isn't it? Okay. So I feel much better now that he's tapped out. Like he can snipe something off with Lux, which sucks, but I think this is okay. There is a world where he just passes, so let's skip on this. I have to assume that this Lux Cannon is going to go a Green Glade duo. But then we should have a good open next turn.
By the light!
Dang, wish we had the mana to pull off both of these. Or I mean, maybe we gotta go for this one. Okay. This does a few things. It keeps us Garen from striking, and then potentially lets us just kill with the Zeebles. That's fine. We're gonna game good, aren't we? He's gonna stun a couple of our cards down here, then he's only gonna have 1 mana left, and we're gonna kill him with the Zeebles. I think that's what's gonna happen here. I think he's gonna Yone Yasuo Yone, and then we get him, got him. Nice. This is where I would emote if that was the kind of thing that we did. Good game, friend.
That's a harvest right there.
Daylight everlasting.
All right. Let's see. I mean, this is just so awkward. Like I don't want to pick up these like homecoming kind of cards. Like if we already have the three Will of Ionias. So I do think Solari Soldier is an upgrade over Sparring Student, but I mean this is a very like medium upgrade. It's just upgrading a 60 to a 62. Like, it's not a huge deal here. I think, like, I can't tell if I should be getting rid of this Dawn and Dusk. You typically find this in, you know, Green Glade Duo style decks. You typically find it in Zed, because I think like Shadows and Dust Zed. May not be the only pool where this lives, but it's the only one that comes to mind where we typically kind of do this kind of thing. Maybe it lives in Discipline as well, but you know, you typically have more like Elusives to try to pull this off with, and so your opponent kind of gets a better board than you, and then that's how you just kind of close out your games. Whether or not it's, but we can kind of do the same thing here with copying like Zeebles. And the other thing that kind of interests me is we're also able to copy units that are Zenith bladed. So I mean, I think I'm still okay with hanging on to this. It's just I'm like real upset with how bad our curve has been here recently. We have too many 7 drops. It's just been a real bummer. Like we shouldn't be winning these no rush 15 style games to where nobody plays anything till the 4th turn against a Luxheimer deck. That should not be happening. That was a real like 10%er in our favor. I think we lose that game like 90% of the time when that happens. But I mean, like, this doesn't really do anything to improve it, right? We aren't just playing Lunari Priestesses on 3. So I'm skipping it. That's make some grunts and groans and see if we can't fix this with some more trade picks. Just not quite the picks that we want. Oof. Rom, Darius, Trendemir. Okay. On the attack? Sure.
Bless the people and sear the heretics.
You got it, boss. Makes sense to me. It's never getting a good combat with that Omen Hawk, so might as well get some blocking in.
The Yordle here's with
Have to
me.
assume this never attacks. Yep. Then this spot's kind of awkward. I would like to add, you know, the Blade Twirler to boost up our Green Glade duo, but it's just way too easy for this guy to play like an Averosian Trapper or the 4/3 Trample or something and completely shut down our attack.
Think you're fast? Cute.
Okay, then the thing with this now is, I mean, I don't want to Will of Ionia anything, but we would have had the mana to do it. So it seems fine. Get our Yasuo down. We can get some big boosts on our boys here. This is pretty good.
Let the flames take you.
Less good. Less good. Certainly did not want to see that guy come down. Zeebles even stun anything? Oh, this got too big. Okay.
Time for a leap of faith.
I believe we can at least get something going together with these stuns next turn. Okay, so he can Troll Chant. But
Blade never gets any lighter.
I think we just need to continue to go for it. Gives up his Ember Maiden. That's fine.
Quick footwork.
We have a stun and a bounce next turn.
Tales for ya.
Sucks not being able to Zeeb anything.
Remember the objectives. For the glory of Noxus.
Let's add the soldier. He's pretty good at combats here. And let's see if we can't get something better in combat. I assume he's... Oh, just did not expect that. Oh, okay. Let's give you an opportunity to add another bro here.
I smell a
That's another bro. That's okay. We're coming in with these elusives. I don't think we'll be able to do anything with Yasuo really here, but then we can control his board pretty well. Serena's moderately scary, but it's going to be taking down our Blade Scout that's not elusive anymore, so this is okay. And then, of course, you know, Will of Ionia and Tryndamere is always very good. Yone does the same thing. So, I mean, this is the immediate one. I'd rather will this than stun it. I do want to play the Steel Tempest though, or we're just never going to get to use it. So I think we do something like this.
No mercy for heretics.
We probably need to keep this guy back. So if he has a well, just, I mean, I'm not sure how this actually plays out. I really wish we could figure out how these lowest kind of things work whenever they're coming into contact with units of the same attack. It's not left to right anymore. That's apparent. That's not the way this works. But okay, the one I think we wanted to go goes. And then as this board stands now, we can get rid of all of this. Although the annoying thing here with Tryndamere is that he's going to come back into play. Or I mean, he's going to get. I guess he's going to get popped and then returned to hand. I think we can navigate around this. No one is promised tomorrow. So, if he just replays Tryndamere, then we win. Same thing happened with Darius. He can maybe follow up with a different unit. I think that's probably why he didn't play Tryndamere. But if we want to win this, we have to ace down this Yeti and this Wolf Rider, and then hope that we can deal with this attack next turn.
If I told you.
Good chance that we're just dead here. I don't think, you know, if we don't pick up another Will of Ionia or a copy of Yasuo or something, or if he plays another unit here, there's like a whole lot of things that can go wrong. But I mean, we can also add in Eclipse Dragons. So
One blade, one purpose.
it's to be like this, right? But he still has to block Yone.
Scurry weakling.
What? What?
Worth both our lives.
This thing's gonna hit our small guy. Did I miss something here?
Who would face me?
Oh, he can hook our Zeebles with Tryndamere and get us. Oh no, he can't. Okay. I think we're fine, right? I'm ultimately getting confused here, but this will prevent the most damage. Give up Yasuo, and then we're just gonna try to kill with Yusari next turn. Tryndamere even dies here. All right, we're okay, aren't we? That was ultimately very confusing. It just seems like he played the sequence of cards that should have killed us, but it didn't quite do it.
The power of our order. Fear the dark.
All right. I don't know if I was just overthinking that or what, but that was felt like we were just losing. That was a strange combat with him losing his Darius. Not quite sure. At any rate, so let's see here. We do have a chance to drop our curve a little bit, and I'm okay with this. Just whimsies aren't really doing it for me at this point. But here, again, these are all of our cheap units. That's what we're looking to hang on to. I think this is a pretty easy trade. Or easy skip, I should say. Okay, we can trade out Jeweled Protector for a 1-drop. I'm very happy with that. I'd also consider this Ravoon for the Will of Ionia, but I think this is okay. Our interactive elements are pretty low, and so as much as I don't like having 3 Will of Ionias, we got to have something, especially after we just traded out our Whimsy. Oh, beautiful. A Windfarer Hatchling for the singular will. You know, it at least helps our curve a little bit. It's still an expensive dude that is a bit of a problem, but the singular will I'm just not happy to have. Okay, this one's tough. I would love to get rid of a Yone. If this Yone was an Eclipse Dragon, I would snap this trade right off. But I think these 2 Yones are just too important to keep in our Yasuo deck here. So let's just give this one a skip. Keeping our removal, not trading a 2 for a 7. Okay. Alright, final battle it is. Alright. The final battle. It's much more than I typically expect out of Yasuo, but I mean you can see like this deck kind of has like flashes of brilliance. There's a lot of bad stun cards that you have to play if you're really trying to focus on Yasuo, but you know, it was just like 1 card away, and especially in this deck that doesn't have any concussive palms. And so, if we could just trade out like all of these expensive cards we don't want for like 4 concussive palms, we'd be doing some work out here. Okay, Targon and Noxus, interesting. Let's see. I mean, we have this kind of dumb hand. We're getting rid of the shadows here. Again, this feels like it's a 7-drop or something. It plays out very expensively. I think this could be okay. I mean, we are getting ourselves in this spot again to where we're perhaps not playing anything until the 3rd turn, but it's a pretty powerful hand to be doing this with. My only real worry, because these decks aren't like super good at going over top of you unless they're hitting things with Zenith Blade. My big worry is taking a big chunk of damage before this Darius comes online. But if we have time, then this hand, you know, has a ton of stats that we can be putting on board.
Devotion to battle.
Okay.
Tales of our past are seeds for our future.
So now the thing I believe we want to be doing is we can go ahead and give some pause to this Yasuo. I don't want that coming down on the board. I think we want to go the elusive route. Add Greenglade Duo, add a Conspirator. If he plays Yone here, or not Yone, if he plays Leona here, it's not a huge deal. And I think we can go around all of these Solaris. I think this is going to be very good here. Like, especially considering, say, like on his next turn, if he wants to, open, then we have a value block on the soldier. If he only comes in with the shield bearer, then he's losing a race here. And so, are we gonna be lethal next turn? We're super close. I'm just gonna take this. I don't want to risk losing these. It seems like he's having a real chore of a time interacting with our units.
Reaching the peak will change everything.
Yeah, it sucks, but you got a Sunburst to Conspirator, bro. Okay. Okay. So let's lead with the Zenith Blade. I think we want to just put it on our smallest one, which would be this. Give him a chance to just kind of spew some mana out on cards we don't care about, and then we can follow up with Blade Scout Yusari.
The dawn has arrived.
Carry her light across the mountain.
I think we're good. Very tough for them to interact with this. They have to be playing like Trouble Bubbles or some shit to get around this now. He could have a Calling Strike on our Blade Scout, but we still lethal through that. Okay.
Master Sid will be pleased. bloom from the trees. One with the shadows.
Did we do it? Alright, good game, friend. Cool. very, very not Yasuo draw, but I mean, when we're talking about in the deck building with all the stuff with the elusives, I mean, this is what we're talking about. They're still good. And so, excellent. Excellent. It was like a disciplined Z draw without the Z. So yeah, nice little 7 winner. Let me get the deck list pulled up and we'll talk about it just a little bit. And so yeah, like ideally this is what you would consider to be a Solar Winds style deck. This was brought about in Call of the Mountain. This is Yasuo Leona pairing. Leona does the stun and Yasuo gets the bonuses out of the stuns. I just do not think that this is really a viable archetype to really be pursuing, right? Because our big problem is, you know, in this deck we drafted 3 Yasuos, but if you're just going to do 2 and 2, then you know your draws are just kind of awkward, right? You have to do more drawing perfect to hit both of your champions, and then getting this like stun thing with Yasuo pulled off is kind of a chore all on its own. And so I don't really recommend pursuing it, but I do like how we looked at this from the start, right? We do know that, you know, you can either, we could have put together like a combination of like the 2 overarching kind of themes are, we can either A, we can build around Yasuo, B, we can go Elusives, C, we can build Leona Daybreaks, or, you know, D, and not ideally, we can try to do like Leona Invokes. I'll leave that one off because it just does not pair well with Ionia. And so ideally, you know, we kind of have 3 decks here. And then it's really just a matter of figuring out at the beginning of the trial, you know, what you're wanting to pursue. And we hit on it really quick right at the beginning. We hit this Green Glade duo Yusari. You know, you're not forced to draft Elusives at that point, but you're probably going to be drafting Elusives. And then down here in pick 2, we did get a Conspirator with a Will of Ionia. And that basically just says, all right, we're doing Elusives this trial. You know, we're not going to focus on flipping our Yasuo. We're not really going to focus on doing anything with a Leona. We're going to focus on Elusives. And then kind of as our plan B, we're going to have our stuns out of Yasuo, which is completely fine, right? Again, a 4/4 for 4 with quick attack is a pretty good deal. And so, you know, if you get some incidental value, if you recall your opponent's unit and kill it, great. We had one game in this trial where we flipped him. It didn't actually matter, but, you know, we did it. That's about what you could be expected with how this deck came together. But, you know, kind of like overarching idea, theme number 1 is figure out which of these decks that you want to be in. You got to kind of figure out pretty quick and early who you want to be pursuing so you're not wasting picks. But if you're in this Solar Winds style, you actually do hit the Yasuo and the Leona. You know, you kind of have 3 choices. You're either in the Yasuo build-around, where I have to recommend that you try to take a Noxus champion still, or a Noxus pack, I should say. Your second choice, Elusives, is what I'll talk about more here. And then, of course, the Leona Daybreak build-around, which is fine, but you know, just take all the cards that say Daybreak on them, and you'll be looking pretty good. But no, like as far as this Elusives deck is concerned, there's kind of like a few different flavors of Elusives that you can get yourselves into, and when you're going to be like a Navori Conspirator based Elusives deck, because right, we're not a Green Glade duo based deck. We only saw one throughout the entirety of the draft. We can't really focus on or count on getting Green Glade duos on like turn 2 and turn 3 and then just spewing off damage. You're going to be in like a slower, more value-oriented kind of game. So if you are building to the Navori Conspirators, there's kind of like 2 things that I really like to look to do. Number 1, you need to have a big pile of 1-drops. We finished with 6. I would rather have like 7 or 8, but 6 is kind of okay. So if you do hit these curve draws, or you do have a Navori Conspirator in your opening hand, you aren't just stuck with it. And so, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to play it on 2, you don't have to play it on 3, you don't have to play it on 4, but you can't have these hands with Navori Conspirator where like the first option you have to bounce with this is Yasuo. You just lose way too much tempo if you do want to play it, and then you know, it just tends to be a dead card because you can't. So you do need this, you know, a reasonable pile of 1-drops to help you get these Conspirators on the board. And then the second kind of thing with these is you have to have some kind of like value play with these. You tend to not be nearly as aggressive as you are in the Green Glade duo style decks. You aren't nearly as aggressive as we were in that last game. And so you're typically looking for, we traded him out, but you're typically looking for like a Jeweled Protector. And then, you know, Sneaky Zeebles has, you know, the right idea and the right flavor, but it's just not good enough. Stunning your opponent's two attack or less units is not a powerful enough ability to be bouncing with the Conspirator. But that's kind of the idea, right? We have Yones. If things are going real slow, we can bounce Eclipse Dragons. We had Jeweled Protector for a while, and, Sneaky Zeebles fits the theme. And so these are just kind of like slower, really value-oriented plays that you can make in the late game. Really what you need to have going on with Navori Conspirator. But otherwise, you really want to be picking up 1 or 2 Bill of Ionias. 3 is too many, but it turned out to be whatever. And then, as you could see in this trial, the interaction and the removal was super lacking. So if we're going to come in and kind of like tier things off, the things that are going to be like really important for you to be pursuing and looking for, in this specific like Yasuo version of the Elusives, you are going to want to have 1 to 2 Yones. That is kind of the extent of the top end that you want. Your 1-drops are extremely important, with Navori Blade Scout typically being the best one, but Solari Soldier's still fine, Sparring Student's still fine. Otherwise, you're just looking for the cheap Elusives and Green Glade Duo and Navori Conspirator. Kind of your tier 1, hey, what can I put into this deck? You could ignore Yone because he always just shows up, but make sure you pick up a bunch of 1-drops and all of the Green Glade Duos that you see, all the Navori Conspirators that you see. After that, things really just boil down to trying to find some interaction. We didn't end up with any Twin Disciplines here. We traded away our 1 Targon Shield. We would really love to have some Pale Cascades, but try to find something. That is the big weakness in the deck as we have it drafted here. We don't have any combat interaction, but we at least found some Will of Ionias and Sunbursts for the removal kind of spells. And so that would be your tier 2. Tier 1 is your 1-drops and your good Elusives. Tier 2 is your interaction. And then, after that, you're just filling out your deck with curve filler. And so whatever you could do to not have this giant pile of 7-cost units, try your best not to do that. You could still be successful, but we got really lucky in a lot of those games to where we just didn't play anything until the 4th turn. But yeah, nothing too new here from old Yasuo. I still have hopes that he'll get some kind of good stun here in the future. Maybe I don't. Maybe my hopes are low, and, and then he's just not an oppressive champion. But he could use a little bit of a boost, and that would be very nice for old Yasuo. I feel like he's one of the more popular league champions, and so I'm sure people like to get to play with him and have some success. But that is going to do it for us today. Let's run back and see if we have any rewards to click on. I don't think we do. We finished off the old region road. I think this will probably pick up again in February when they release Aphelios. I have to assume that they'll add some Targon choices to the road here. And then we're all out of loot boxes and weekly vaults. You're just going to have to wait until the weekly vault comes out. But that is going to do it for us today. I hope you found that run quite stunning, LOL, and you had a knowledgeable moment with Yasuo or two. Maybe you had a good time watching and learned a new thing or two along the way. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.